Hi all, my name is Jeff Hewlett. I'm a decision confidence builder. I'm a behavioral economist and have been in banking and financial services most of my career. I'm also a faculty member at James Madison University and I'm a personal finance author. April is Negotiation Success Month. All month long, we will explore, dissect, and show you best practices for being a confident negotiator. Not surprising, the best negotiation is the product of information leverage and decision process. Having a process for curating information and deciding what is important to you and your organization about an upcoming decision is essential. Partnering with the best technology is also a big part of negotiation success. Using definitive choice is the negotiator's first choice when preparing to decide and negotiate among alternatives. This is our first vidcast for Negotiation Success Month. Today, we will discuss McKinsey's Situation-Complication-Resolution, or SCR, framework. I find it interesting that this is a very popular topic. On the idea incubator, The Curiosity Vine, this has historically been one of our most viewed articles. The Situation-Complication-Resolution framework is a straightforward and effective reasoning approach. Management consulting firms such as McKinsey often use SCR for consulting training. Reasoning approaches like this have been around for millennia, going back to the ancient Greeks and even before. The best part about SCR is that you can start using it quickly and easily by implementing these 3 problem descriptions. So first, we start with the situation. This is the framing of the important recent context that the audience already knows and accepts as fact. It is important to anchor the decision makers in a common understanding of that situation. Next, we have the complication. This is the reason the situation requires action. A complication can be a needed business goal, managing an ongoing risk, building a better client relation, or something else. Think of the complication as the core challenge needing attention. Finally, we have the resolution. This is the recommended actions required to resolve or solve the challenge or capture the opportunity. The actions can be very tactical or they can be more high level. It really depends on your audience. For example, a program management leadership group may be more tactical, whereas a senior leadership group may only require higher level action steps. So these are the 3 components of the SCR framework. But the next good question is, so how do you make the framework operational? Well, you've guessed it. Like anything else, our success tools need to be practiced. As you practice the framework, you will naturally find more uses. Of course, the challenge with practice is that our brain does not know the difference between good and bad. So practice makes permanent means that whatever we practice, our brains will accept as normal. So to reach the best negotiation outcome and teach your brain appropriately, we must practice the best approach that leads to that outcome. That's what SCR is all about. Early in my career, I had the good fortune to work with a McKinsey alum. His name was Richard Graham. Richard was my boss at First Union. Richard and I worked together to transition a lending business to First Union after they purchased Signet Bank. At some point, I was struggling with resolving a particularly thorny issue in a way that was both descriptive and led to a high-value negotiated outcome. Richard suggested the SCR framework. That was over 25 years ago, and I've been using it ever since. Think of the SCR framework as a reasoning approach that, 1, helps the negotiator organize their thoughts in a way that, 2, efficiently aligns the other negotiating agents to a high-value resolution recommendation. As modifications to the core framework, SCR may also, 1, provide background as a preamble to the situation, or 2, provide multiple resolution scenarios, alternatives, and business case constraints for evaluation. The SCR framework is a valuable communication and reasoning tool in my business toolbox. But now, let's take a look at some examples. Next are two SCR examples, which you can see there on the right side of the slide. So these will help describe SCR and determine if SCR modifications are needed. But first, we start with everyday reasoning. In our daily life, we are faced with many situations requiring evaluation and decision. Let's say you have a client struggling with implementing some new whiz-bang technology. They already bought the whiz-bang technology and now need to implement it. You may have a good idea of the best integration approach, but need a reasoning narrative that is clear, concise, and persuasive. This is the perfect candidate for SCR. So, for this example, the situation is that new whiz-bang technology needs to be integrated into our current process. Then, the complication is that we have some constraints like a limited budget, limited resources, limited time, limitations on current process impact, and others. And then finally, the resolution is a game plan to resolve complications and successfully implement the whiz-bang technology. The resolution could be many suggestions that result from the SCR approach. The essential part is that the resolution is the outcome of the process and provides a convincing narrative to the other decision agents. Generally, everyday reasoning can be handled quickly with support from team experts or existing documents. With a little practice, this is an effective business communication skill, and it's very quick. One word of caution. People are notoriously poor at weighing preferences. In the early everyday reasoning example for whiz-bang, we offered several complicating factors like a limited budget, limited resource, limited time, and limitations on current process impact. The question becomes, what is the weight of each of these factors? Are limited resources most important, or do we have other resources we could engage? If this is important, then by how much? People naturally go to extremes. So each side of this sort of natural preference weighting that we do without help is, on the one hand, we would all think of it as 100% important or not important at all. We tend to go to those sort of binary extremes. And then two, it's evenly important. Like nobody wants to vote for something too much or too little. So you're going to even everything out. And so you're going to make like there's no difference between the preference weights. So the truth is always somewhere in the middle. It's never at either one of those extremes. Some preferences are more important than others. The other essential fact we know, all preference weights must add to 100%. There are always trade-offs, and getting used to trade-offs is essential. So I've used the app Definitive Choice to help with preference weighting. Definitive Choice provides scientifically proven smartphone tools that quickly and easily help individuals or groups come together on their preference weights. This becomes critically important to precisely transition your SCR-based complications into an accurate resolution recommendation that people really buy into. Next is our second example for a multi-criteria, multi-alternative reasoning. I call this multi-reasoning. Sometimes we are faced with more complex decisions in particular, the resolution may need the evaluation of multiple criteria and multiple alternatives. Let's take the same client, but they have not yet bought the new technology. They would like your help among the several alternatives, which includes whiz-bang. Okay? There may be several stakeholders that need to provide input. As such, the situation and complications are relatively straightforward, but the resolution now and the number of stakeholders has added much complexity. So, for the more complex example, the situation is that our client needs a technology solution to solve a business issue. The complication is that we have some constraints like a limited budget, limited resource, limited time, limitations on current process impact, etc. All of our favorite friends. Then the resolution part is to determine the best alternative. As such, we need to develop criteria, develop alternatives, create a business case, and assimilate the views of all the stakeholders. The critical part of the outcome is to deliver what I call Decision ACT, or Decision ACT. ACT stands for acceleration, enabling faster, lower cost decisions. It enables a nimble decision environment. Confidence inspiring, for the C, confidence inspiring a process causing people to be more confident with individual or organizational decisions. This confidence increases buy-in and decision uptake. And then finally, T is for transparency, which provides reporting, documentation, and artifacts to help communicate the decision. This is good especially for second guessers like auditors, boards, or regulators. For multi-reasoning, decision support tools are needed to manage the collection of objective business case information and to evaluate the criteria and alternatives, which are generally going to be a little more judgmental. The core reasoning is the same as everyday reasoning, but additional tools are needed to facilitate the more complex resolution decision recommendation. So, Definitive Business Solutions, Inc. offers decision support solutions to help with the more complex multi-reasoning example. They have enterprise-level decision support solutions to help with larger, more complex organizations and decisions. They also have a smartphone solution for less complex multi-reasoning decisions. Individually, we spend far more time handling small decisions than the really large decisions. Success in both my personal life and my professional life is owing to a cumulative series of small, high-quality decisions. It's like I practice every day. So consistently applying reasoning frameworks like SCR will reduce decision noise and increase decision quality. Decision support tools may be very helpful when making more complex decisions. Next time, we will explain the BATNA and discuss a compensation negotiation example. This acronym, BATNA, stands for the Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. Using BATNAs are a key focus and the driving force behind a successful negotiator. However, we often neglect to build our BATNAs. This is unfortunate, and I will show you the path to make the BATNA an essential part of your decision process. But until next time, you've got this.